Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, guys. I love seeing everybody piling in. We did make you wait a little bit in the waiting room while we were doing the technical stuff in the background. Mariana, are you the co-host? Just checking.
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. I will feed this live into our Facebook group. Oh, Facebook decided to log me out. Mariana, you might have to be.
Can you not remember it?
No, it's asking for a 6-digit code, but I never do these.
Man, let me see if I can see in your face.
Can you make yourself the host, Christy?
You have to make me the host.
No, yeah, duh. Okay, everybody, hold on a minute. Let me find Christy on this list. Christy Waker, there you are. Make host. Okay, so I changed the host over to you.
Yeah, well, let me make you the co-host now.
Me and Mariana, please. And could you feed it to Facebook?
Yes. All right, I made you the co-host. Where's Mariana? Mariana.
I'm here.
Oh, Mariana,
Google.
you're
I'm
still the
already
co-host, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm the other Gogo Bethke.
You guys getting too
Yeah, I
fast
saw that.
today.
We get 2 Gogos. There's already too many Gogos all over the place.
One is enough of me, huh?
Yes. I don't have permission either, Gogo.
What the heck? I can't even log into Facebook right now. For some
What
reason.
if I'm the host? Let's try that way. Make me the host, Christy.
Oh my goodness, it's given us that error again. Error. That's crazy.
Make Mariana the co-host, please. I mean, the host. Let's try it that way.
You mean the second Gogo, not Mariana?
True.
Yeah,
Big
the second
goals too for today, just to complicate it a little bit.
Let's see.
I wonder
just need you guys to admit.
Mariana, I
people
wonder if
while
the
I'm
problem
feeding.
is that you are logged in as me.
I don't think so. I've done it other times.
Oh, because then I would have been able to feed it just fine. I'm checking Facebook, the group in the background to see what's going on. The Facebook settings.
Okay, everyone, bear with us. Technically,
Yes.
we usually feed all of these trainings live into our private Team Gogo Facebook group, and Facebook is not a friend right now. It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
If not, it's also recorded, so we can post it later. Okay. Usually we started with the mortgage minute. Randy here with us.
I don't see him.
I just talked to him, so I know he's coming. He probably doesn't know. He's probably on the wrong link.
Oh, that's a good point.
He just sent us a
He's on the wrong link.
message. Yeah.
Can you send
Yes,
it?
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, in the meantime, while Randy's coming on here, we usually start with just a quick 5 minutes mortgage minutes. He's going to figure out his way onto the call here in a second. Today, we are going to do comps. I did a reel a couple weeks ago on just kind of what we do, right, when we run comps here. And I got so many messages from you guys, like, could we do this live? Now, I'll be honest with you, you kind of have to bear with me because I can only do comps in my area, right? Sorry, something just popped up. Can you please mute yourself, everyone? Christy, you are one of them. I'm going to mute you. So when I'm doing comps, of course, I'm going to be pulling numbers in my MLS, in my location, right? So you are going to have to bear with you. My MLS access might look totally different than yours, right? I might have things that you don't have. On this call,
We're live. It worked.
Awesome, thank you. We are in multiple different areas and multiple different MLSs, and things work totally different. Like what I did, I tried to pull 2 homes that are somewhat very similar. Like I figured you can find more of a basic home than a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,800 square foot colonial, right? So I figured I'll do that. I put 2 different camps in our area. And then I also, so I did one I do all of my camps every time when we do pricing, we do it off of school district, right? I think it's very, very important that the home that you're comparing to other homes, right, that they all in the same school district. So what I did is, if we have time, I put 2 very, very, very similar homes from 2 different cities. So then we can see how much one home is costing one area versus another. Sounds good? Did Randy make it on here?
I am on here. Sorry, I was having multiple links, so I apologize for that, everybody.
I figured you were on the wrong one. Sounds good. So everyone, this is Randy. I'm going to put it on speaker view so you guys can see him. And then Randy, tell us what's new in the mortgage industry. What do we need to know today?
So 2 quick things I'm going to hit on. One is rates. I know, again, every week I talk about rising rates. I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but they obviously keep going up. The tensions in Ukraine and Russia should drive rates down. What's happening is they're actually trickling up because the Fed doesn't really know what to do. So the 30-year fixed rate right now is hovering right around 4.375% for a client who's putting 20% down on a 30-year loan. On the 15-year loan, it's hovering right around 3.5 to 3.6%, just so you know. So clients putting 20% down, again, 30 years, 4.375, 15 years, right around 3.5%. We can still do investment properties, which is great. 15% investment properties, rates are closer to 5% on those. But so it's not terrible, but they are going upwards. So with the lack of housing and the rates going up, it's obviously causing more of an issue for you realtors. But I want to keep you abreast of what's going on. One thing I do want to say really fast, I want you guys just to be sure that we're we're on the same page when it comes to structuring a deal for a vacating premises. So if a client, for example, is selling their home and then moving to another home, how does that really work when it comes to financing? So what happens is when somebody's buying another home and selling their home, you usually have to structure correctly when it comes to how much occupancy you actually need for the buy. So what I like to say is, whenever you have someone buying another home and they're selling their house or vacating their house, you want to make sure you add enough occupancy for the buy side. And what's allowed occupancy wise? Fannie and Freddie guidelines allow 60 days of occupancy. So now client identifies another home, but they have to sell their home. They can literally make a smooth transition. And I'll give you an idea. So let's say they're closing March 1st. Sorry, let's say we identify a property March 1st, close date on or before April 1st, okay? If close date is on or before April 1st, that means that you have that 30-day window to identify another property, to identify a buyer for the property that they're selling. And then you have the 60-day occupancy, so it gives them time to vacate their premises, giving them enough time accordingly to be able to make the transition smoothly. So if you have 60-day occupancy on the buy side, for example, of their property that they're selling, that gives them 60 days to move out. Then you have 30 days, to close on their property. It essentially gives you 90 days. Now, if they close their property April 1st, they're not going to have a payment due until not May, but June 1st. So now they're not going to have the double payments either. So a lot of times they're on the fence because they're like, well, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we make this transition smooth? That's how you make it smooth. You buy 60 days occupancy on the house that they're selling. And then obviously, like I said, you have that 30-day window to close on their mortgage and you'll be okay. Now, let's say they're not selling their property. Let's say they're going to rent out their property. I discussed last week how that's happening. If that's happening, okay, fine. Just make sure you time that rental accordingly. And remember, how do you qualify for both properties at the same time? Well, here's how. If they're leasing out a property that they're vacating and they have enough money, enough funds to buy the new property that they've identified, remember, you can use 75% on a new rental of a property that you are leasing out that you used to live in. You can use 75% of the gross rent immediately minus PITI. What is PITI? Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So again, they have options. Just know what their options are. Can I use my rent right away if I'm going to lease my property out and buy another property? Will I qualify? Yes, you will. We can use 75% of prevailing gross rents minus PITI, and you can still qualify for both properties. So that's all I really have. I tried to do it in 5 minutes. If there's any questions, please feel free to post them below, and I'll start answering through the next presentation. But I wanted you guys to know that's what I have for today. Rate update, how to go from selling and leasing to buying another property. And like I said, any questions, go ahead and answer them. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Also, guys, remember the PITI, it's calculated by the lender, not by you. I usually throw it back right on their plate, right? So the daily rate, if your sellers are back renting from the buyers, that PITI daily rate, I always make the lender calculate and give it to us. So they tell us it's $43 a day, okay? Also nowadays, especially multi-bidding situation, what you want to do, if your buyers have time on their hand, right? You want to throw in post-closing occupancy at free, right? So now if you can throw in 60 days or 30 days where the sellers can stay in their own home after closing for 30 days for free or 60 days for free, that might just be the reason why you be the winning bid. Cool? Okay, we ready? Okay, let's do this. So I want this to kind of be like a working meeting. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, you guys are going to see the Facebook not being my friend right now. Okay, let's go back to, this is what our MLS looks like when we log in. I always go right here, RCO3, that's our search. So then now I can run quick searches for any property or anything I want to do, right? It is a little slower, guys, because we are live, so you're gonna have to bear with me. So when you hover over search, you go residential and you go quick, at least 10 hours. When I'm running comps, I want to
Gogo?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to answer this question. So, or have you answered this question so it doesn't get buried? If you offer occupancy for free, can't there be liabilities in case anything happens, or do you just take a security deposit?
We do what's called a damage deposit. So that's a great question. You never want to do a post-closing occupancy without a damage deposit. And your damage deposit really should be calculated on the value of the home, right? So if it's like an $80,000 starter up home, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, you are not going to hold a $5,000 or $15,000 damage deposit, because what are they going to take the roof with them, right? Now, if it's a $2 million property, it's a totally different price range, right? So now you have to think about what would be a reasonable post-closing occupancy damage deposit. And the damage deposit, guys, think of it this way. You always want to hold the damage deposit with the post-closing occupancy, because what happens is the seller closed, right? They closed, they took the buyer's money. They no longer own the house, but they live in it. Now what? So should you do your final walkthrough the day of the closing, or should you do your final walkthrough the day of the key exchange? Probably both, but you definitely have to do it at the day of the key exchange. And that's why you want damage deposit, because what if the sellers, after they, or while they're moving out, they decide to drag their 500-pound, what is that called? Pool table across the hardwood floor. Then what? What if they decide to, when you bought it, there were speakers in the wall and they decided to take it with them, like literally straight out of the wall? Then what? What if the pool table didn't fit out on the door and they just kind of knocked out the door wall and left it for you to fix, right? So those are the this is the reason why you want post-closing occupancy, you want damage deposit, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. I mean, we're assuming that the sellers are going to be kind. They're going to live the home the way, the time the offer was written, right? But you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't want surprises. I don't want surprises, right? So I always do damage deposit with the post-closing occupancy. That's a great question.
Highly suggest pictures too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry, Mike. I think
the exchange I did.
Yeah, you're cutting out, Mike. You don't have very good cell service, but
Can you hear me?
yes, now we can. Yep.
Yeah, so I would say make sure to take good pictures at the day of closing, and at the key exchange, make sure you have those pictures. I just had that happen to me at the key exchange. There was holes in the walls and the doors. They took speakers out of the walls, like you said, and so they,
There you go. I gave the perfect example, right? I said they take the speakers out of the wall, and there you go. You have the actual story behind it. I didn't have an actual story behind it. I just came up with it. I think we lost you, Mike. How much to take for a damage deposit? I don't know if there is an actual math. Mike, do you have like an actual math on how much damage deposit you hold on a certain price range, or?
I don't have I don't really have a set. I just kind of base it off the value of the home. But normally, if it's 250 or above, I have a minimum of at least 5,000 to be held out of the seller's proceeds in the escrow account.
Yeah. And the sellers do get that back, guys. So they get it back if they leave the home in good condition, right? This is why you sign a key exchange form. So if you sign it, that means the buyers took the key, they're satisfied with the home, everybody moving on, seller gets back their damage deposit, buyers get the keys, peace out, right? Okay, let's go into our comps. Be ready? So I pulled the comp on well, I did not pull the comps. I found 2 properties and we're literally going to pull the comps together. Can you guys see my screen? Yes. Okay. So this is what our MLS looks like. I already have the property in mind. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here really quick. 2373 Hay Creek. Let's see if I can find it this way. I think it was this one right here. MLS number 258. Yes, right here. So I just try to find like a standard home, right? A 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you know, less than an acre, which puts it kind of into a neighborhood. Built right around 2000, between 2000 and 2010. This one specifically is about 1,800 square feet, unfinished basement, but it does have a basement, but it's unfinished and it's not on a lake, right? So usually what I do is I start with, so let's say you're listing 123 Main Street or this property right here, 2373 Hay Creek Drive, right? They call you and they say, you want to list our home. By the way, I just found this property. Don't call them, guys, because they're not for sale, right? Or not listing. I just found one that is 2 comparables, okay? So this one, most important. So this is what I do. I print the latest MLS ticket. And what I do with the MLS ticket, I circle everything that I need to know. So on this one, most importantly, first thing I always circle, school district. Very first thing I circle is school district. Second, I go for the square footage. Third, I circle if it has a basement or not. And if it does have a basement, is it finished and walk out, right? Because that's a totally different price. Then I circle how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many cars, car garage, right? Then I circle the acreage. Does it have acre or not? And then I circle what year was it built or renovated in. So as you can see, these circles right here, I circled Pinckney School District, estimated finished square footage, estimated lower. You can say it has a basement, but it's unfinished because the finished lower square footage is missing. Then I circled the car garages. So this one is 3 car. I circled the acreage at 0.44. I circle what year it was built in, 2000, if it was remodeled, the year underneath. I circled the bedrooms and the bathrooms, and now I know what I'm looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to go into search residential quick. When you're running comps, you want to look for everything. You want to look at your competition. So those are the active ones, right? And the coming soon. So I'm going to check these 2 because I want to know who I'm going against in that same criteria, right? Then I want to know at what price range it did not sell, right? Somebody listed a shed for $1 million. I want to know those are expired. Those didn't sell. Usually price or condition or location, right? Location you can change. Condition, if you don't change, that leaves the price, okay? The next one, then I want to know what's pending, but pendings are not really true comps because you don't know what it's pending for, right? You just know that it was listed at a certain price and it's sold at that price. But we don't know if it's sold $30,000 over or did they ask for 3,500 sellers concessions? We don't know. And it won't be public until it closes. You could call the listing agent and if they feel like it, they might share it with you, but most agents don't feel like sharing. Last one is sold. So now I want to know how many sold. So when I'm doing comps, comparables, right? I want to know who's my competition when I go live, who just got off the market, at what price was it listed at, and how fast did it fly off the market? That's my pending. I want to know if I listed at this price range, it is not going to sell, it's going to expire. And then I also want to know what price range do most of these homes that are similar to one another sell in the school district. Okay, so these are the ones that I personally check. So then you can do it a few different ways. In my opinion, the best way to do it is do it based on an area. So for example, you see this map area up here from a 0.25 radius. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to put in the address of the property, 2373 Hay, it should pop up, Hay Creek. Okay, there you go. So if I put in an address of a property, it shows me that 4 homes sold within a quarter mile from this address. But it doesn't tell me what kind of homes, right? So I could be comparing a ranch with 25 acres to a colonial that has a 0.44, right? So now I can narrow it down. So now I no longer have to put in the county or the area or the city because it's in a quarter mile radius. It must be in that area, right? But I still do school district though. Especially in our area, we have borderline areas that literally this side of the road is one school district and this side of the road is another school district. So because of that, I do narrow it down and I always tie my searches to a school district. So now I'm going to say this one is in Pinckney. So I'm going to put in P-I-N-C-K and it's right there. Sometimes I can't click it. Our MLS is so finicky, guys. Well, let me click it. Okay, there we go. Now I narrowed it down to the school district and it still stayed at 4. Guys, this is for my team. I think our limit is set at 200. Can you change it? Because people keep popping up, but the number doesn't change.
Okay, I'll check it.
Thank you. Okay, so now we had it a Pinckney School District. It still stayed at 4. So now I need to know, okay, well, let's see. Are they comparable to mine? My house has exactly 3 bedrooms. So I put in 3 bedrooms, it stayed at 4. Cool. That means all other 4 also have 3 bedrooms. Now I'm going to put in 2 bathrooms because I know my house has 2 bathrooms. It still stayed the same. Awesome. Now I'm going to put in 1 acre or less. So if you do whatever number you put, and I don't know if this is specific or not per MLS, but at least our MLS, when you put in a number. So if I put in 1, you see how it went to 0? That's because none of the homes have exactly 1 acre, right? So whatever you put in here, the system will take you literally, okay? So what you want to do is I want to know that these homes are in a neighborhood, which I want to, if I do 1 acre less, automatically puts them in a neighborhood, right? So I want to do 1 acre or less, and it shows me all 4 homes stayed. Okay, awesome. Now I want to go to square footage. I know my home square footage is 1,811. So I'm going to go 1. So I usually do 200 square foot plus or minus. So I'm going to do 1,600 to 2,000. Now, if you look in the bottom, that leaves it at 2 matches. So now I know that these homes are pretty similar to mine. The one thing I don't know, right, is in my case, it has a basement. Do these homes have a basement? If I put in yes, it stayed 2. Okay, good. Now the next question I have, actually, I don't ever check for cars, right? But I do for how many cars, garages it has, but I do check for the year that it was built, right? Because comparing a 2017 new construction to Gammo special from 1971, not the same house, right? So in my opinion, a year built is very important. So let's go to year built. Now, again, if you put in 1976, it's going to show you the homes built in 1976. So you always want to go, in years, I usually go plus minus 10. So I'm going to put in, for the years, I'm going to put in 2000. Mine was built in 2000. So I'm going to do 1980, nope, 1990, sorry, to 2010. And stayed at 2. Awesome. So now I can go to results. So now I know that these homes, I don't like this view. So you can go up to criteria. Sorry, not criteria. Go back. I lose it. I need a drink. I don't know. I told you ours is very, very specific. So let's go. Accepting, no, expired and pending and sold. We are going to go. I am so sorry, guys. Bear with me. This is
Can you just go to recent searches?
Yeah, I was gonna say, go on the top right. There's the recent search button now. So go to the top and all the light blue bar all the way to the right, your photo might be covering it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
says recent search with the little clock.
Like that?
Yeah,
No,
that's not
I
it.
didn't save it. It wasn't a save
It
search.
shouldn't be a saved one, but okay, go ahead.
I didn't save. Did you guys see it? I didn't see it.
The other tab open, but I think that's it.
Oh, you guys didn't see the tab.
It
Yeah,
was the top one, Gogo.
was it?
Yeah.
This one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at 124.
Huh. Thank you, guys. There we go. Thumbnail. So this is the view I like. I don't like the original view that it usually comes in on the grid single line. There isn't enough information on there for me to be like, yeah, I can use these, right? But right now, if you look at these, the status on these ones, where does it show the status now in these new ones? Sold and sold. So I only have 2 sold comps. I don't like that. So I want to go back now to the criteria and I want to change out the radius. So quarter mile radius literally only gave me 2 results. I don't like it. I want to see what else happening in a 1 mile radius. But I have so many pop-ups on my screen, I can't take it. Let's move this over to the side. Okay, so now in a 1 mile radius, we have 5. I like that better, but not enough. So I'm going to go out to a 2 mile radius. Let's see how many do I get. 6. How about a 3 mile radius? 13. Okay, I like this number better. So let's hit results. There we go. So school district, you see that? All in Pinckney. I like that. We have all 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. We have the square footage between, what did we set it to? Where is square footage? This is a new layout I need to get. Oh, square footage. This is 1900, 1700, 1600, 1900, 1750. So it pretty much meets all of our criteria, right? So now what I want to look at is I want to see the expired, right? So I only have 1 expired, 1 pending, and looks like the rest of them are sold. If I look at this expired, it will also tell me a price per square feet. And it is right here, $191.35. You see that? So I know in my mind, if I list it at $191.35, it is probably not going to sell, right? Because this one, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1900 and where's the square footage? Sorry, 1907 square feet, 3-car garage, built in 3 bedroom, 2 bath. What was it built? 1995. Didn't sell for 191. Now mine was built in 2000. So mine is 5 years younger, but right? Is that worth? Yes. Yeah.
I was gonna, sorry, you could finish your thought, but I was gonna ask how many comparables do you want to, like, what's a good number of comparables you want to try to find?
Yeah, what I like to do is, well, okay, let's take this back 11 years, guys, when I got licensed, right? So 11 years ago, I wanted to have 5 of each. I wanted to have 5 pending, 5 expired, 5 sold that are exactly like my property, apples to apples. Well, last week when I did the reel and we were pulling the comps, I couldn't find a single active. I couldn't find a single pending. I couldn't find a single expired. The only thing I could find was sold, which means everything sells right now, right? There was no data to compare it to. So now, fast forward 11 years, it's a little different than back in the day, right? So now you're lucky. If you're lucky, then we got 1 expired, then we can kind of go off of, you know, at $191 a square foot, it's not going to sell, right? Now I have 1 pending, and that one is pending at $186 a square foot, right? So now I can write down. So expired 191, pending is 186.38. And now the way I do my solds, I'm going to take all of these solds in consideration. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 solds. I'm going to take the average sales price from all of these. So who can work with me? I need someone's help. I need someone to handle a calculator.
I can if nobody else offers.
There you go, Christy. Would you please? Okay. Can you add up 275? Okay, that's one other thing, guys. I want you to look at this listing at 2415 Spartans Trail. You see the S price and the L price. The L price is the listing price. The S price is the sold price. So just because it lists at a price, it doesn't mean it's going to sell at that price. I want to know at what price it is sold at, not at what price was it listed at. Okay, so you always want to look, in this case, you want to look at the S price, the sold price. So this one was listed 240, sold for 275, $25,000 over asking, right? So in this case, we are going to add up all of the sold prices at 275. This one is 275. The next one is 305, Christy. Then it's 310.
75.
305. Then 310. Another 310. 320. 329. 330. 331. Another 331. 345.
Oop, hold on, so let's see. How many are there? I hit a button. Sorry. Let me do that one more time. 375. 1, 2, 3. Plus 339.
Your average is going to be 326.
You did it. You got it.
326.
You certain? You got all the numbers? Love it. So what you want to do, guys, you take the price, and then you take the amount of deals you have. It came out at 326. Okay, that's the average. Now we want to know the average price per square feet, right? So 330, what was it? 336? The average price is 326. 326. Okay, now let's calculate average price per square feet. Okay, so now we want to see all of these numbers that we have. Kaylee, would you be my assistant in this?
Got you.
Awesome. So add up for me 171.88, 159.85, 177.14, 171.37, 176.11, 186.93, 180.43, 191.66, 182.77, 193.39, and 223.21 equals divided by 11.
183.16 rounded.
Thank you. Can you multiply that for me with 1,811 square feet?
What was the square foot again? 1,000.
1811.
331,702.
So my listing price on this property, if I was to list it today to be very, very competitive and reasonable, should be $331,702. Guess how much this property was listed for when it was listed? Can you see it in the corner? Right on the dollar, 331,000. It ended up selling. So it was listed for 315, ended up selling for 331 because that's what it's worth. So that's how you do the math, guys. So I like to stay competitive. Sometimes you do list it a little bit above that, right? Because at this price, there's no way it's not going to sell. There's no way it's not going to sell at 331 because that's what it's worth looking at the comps. And I feel 100% confident going into this listing, right? Even if I have to go bring it into, not an argument or whatever with an appraiser, but if I had to show up at the appraisal, I have plenty of comps to justify why I listed it at that price. 11 of them to be exact, right? And they are all sold. So there's no reason why mine couldn't. So at this point, what I would do is I would look at the most expensive price per square foot, and I would look at the cheapest price per square foot, and I would see the condition of both. So let me see if actually our specific property is on this list or not. How far? It's right here. Okay, so this is the one that we actually pull the comps on. So let's look at the condition of this property, and then we are going to look at the condition of the cheaper one and the most expensive one. White kitchen, stainless steel appliances, clean, everything brand new, new flooring, beautiful, right? Now, I don't ever get stuck on the decoration because it doesn't matter. None of that's going to be there, right? It could have been staged for this. So you look at it, it's beautiful, right? Now I want to see, okay, the upstairs is cool, but how did the basement look? I know it had a basement and I know it was unfinished, but sometimes in our cases, unfinished still means that there's like these random walls or yada, yada. So, okay, so let's look at the backyard. Now I can see the backyard, they have a deck, right? To me, it looks like it's a wood deck. It wasn't stained or anything, so I'm not like in a huge awe of the outside. The yard looks maintained, but it's also probably in a neighborhood. You can see everybody's yard is very similar. So they maintained the yard very nice. There's an area view, that's it. They didn't even show me the basement, so I don't know. I know it's unfinished, right? So now I know that mine came out at the price range of $173 price range. So I want to find one that is cheaper than mine. Not 173, what was it? 183. So I want to find one that's cheaper than mine if we can. 171, 177, 159. But this 159 must be a, no, doesn't look like, I'm like, it looks like a condo. Okay, so let's check out the 159. Looks nice from the outside, maintained, nice landscaping, 2-car garage, right? And mine had 3. Looks like it's on a golf course. Everything's oak. Dated, right? I'm not a fan of oak, guys. I just don't like it. Dated, the tiles are the older tiles, the smaller tiles, right? But it's a cute condo looking. It's a freestanding house, it looks like, but wallpaper. So I'm thinking someone's gonna have to remove that. Like I'm thinking cost, right? Bathroom is okay. I mean, it's not that bad. New tile and a new shower door would fix it. Oh, new countertop, new cabinets, all oak. Appliances are older. You see, it's not stainless steel appliances. So I feel very comfortable that at a 151 price range, I'm gonna blow this listing out of the water, right? So now I'm not worried about that. Now I want to go to the most expensive. So let's see which one was the most expensive. 191, 193, 223. Let's look at this one. So at 223, 3-car garage, I like it. Landscaping is beautiful. Ooh, but they have a pool. Right? So that scratches out. So now in Michigan, a pool, and we might be a very funky state when it comes to pools, right? Like I'm sure in Florida and in Arizona, it's a bonus. Oh my gosh, you have a pool, right? But in Michigan and in the northern states, some people look at it as an expense because you really only get to use it for 3 to 4 months and then you get to pay on it the whole year, right? So most people in Michigan, it kind of depends on the appraiser if you're going to get a $10,000 positive or a $10,000 negative to your listing price. So now I'm like, this is not a true comp because they have a pool. I don't have a pool. I don't even want to compare it to mine. Okay. The next second one most expensive is $193 a square foot, right? Was there anything else that I missed? 186. Yeah. So the 193 is the second most expensive. So let's check it out. I'm not going to tell you. I can't. It's an inside joke, but I can't share you why I'm laughing, but I know whose house this is. And let me tell you that we didn't get their listing. Okay. Okay. So let's continue. Nice deck. Nice maintained backyard. Looks like a 3-season room or maybe 4-season room, right? Fireplace, little dated. Carpet, probably original-ish, right? Kitchen, not oak, but kind of wood-ish. So it makes it a little more country. So I feel like if this home sold at $193 a square foot, then I have no reason not to list mine at $193, right? Because I have comp that's literally similar to what I listed, but mine is better. Newer, more updated, right? So now if this is $193 a square foot, $93.39, Kaylee, can you help me? $193.39 times 1811 equals
350,229.
350,229. So if I was to list this house today, I would probably list it close to the 350 mark versus a 331 because I have a comp and I can justify being on the higher end. So I would probably list it somewhere in between the two. to still stay competitive, but take advantage of the market. Now, here's another thing that you guys can do, and we do it all the time. So we came up at a 331 price per square foot if we took the average price per square feet. We came up with 352.29 if we took the most expensive price per square foot. But now I want to know how close is my math to RPR. So what you want to do is you want to log into your, we call it RPR. If you go down here, it looks like that. Realtor Property Resources. I don't know what your MLS calls it, but in ours,
Everybody has access to RPR.
Okay.
Anybody who has NAR, is a NAR associated with NAR, they get a free RPR account.
there you go. Go into your MLS, find RPR, and click the button. First, when you click it, you have to create your account. After you created your account, you have access to it all the time. So let's see if it pulls up.
John Chang had a good question.
Okay, what was your question?
He's asking when they're talking with the customer, do you say I would list it for X, or here's the range and show them what the.
I give them a range all the time. So I literally, as I'm doing my math, guys, my presentation is very fancy. It usually looks like this. Literally, I take the MLS, I take the comps, I circle everything, I come up with my numbers, I tell them exactly why we should list it at that price. So I give them three options. If we list it at this price, which is the expired, it's never going to sell. If we list it at this price, we are at the highest price per square foot. If we list it at this price, I have 11 comps and we are average price per square foot. You get to decide. But I usually guide them to choose between the average and the highest, right? If you choose during average, especially in the market like today, you are going to end up with 47 offers and nobody has time for that, right? So you want to now, but this changes with the market. This is why you have to stay on top of it, because a year from now, or when I got licensed in 2011, you could have given it away at $100,000 cheaper than what it was worth. Nobody could afford to buy it, right? Right now, you can kind of get away with murder. So I pushed the envelope a little bit and I listed just a little bit higher to see what happens, right? So I would try to list it closest to the most expensive comp, between average and most expensive price per square feet. And
Gogo,
do
you
yes.
always go the year back, or do you ever adjust it to say 6 months instead of doing the full 365?
So
Or does it just depend on the area, right?
yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
ours is set for if you have enough comps, right? So if you end up getting with these criterias, if you ended up getting 117 comps, I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute, right? Then I would just go back 90 days if I can. Right. But because I had to go out of 5 mile radius and I still only had, 11 or 13 comps, it wasn't enough to adjust anything else. But if you have plenty of comps, yeah, I strongly recommend to do the last 3 months, even if you can, because that's the true number, right? Like in 1 second, we're going to find out what this house is worth today versus last year. And you'll see that's exactly the reason why, is because of the 365 days. So right now, when you log into RPR, you're going to put in the address of the property. Now you can cheat and have the system calculate for you, right? And I'm not going to say that I've never done that. I have done that a couple of times if I was in a huge rush. But I like to pull the comps literally manually every time to understand the property I'm dealing with. So I strongly recommend to pull manual comps every time. So you understand your market, you know what you're going into. So when you're going into a conversation with your seller and they interviewed multiple agents and the previous agent told them is going to list it for 1.7 million, right? Then I'm going to tell them, you go have fun with that. I can list it for $10 million, right? Like anybody can list it for whatever you want to list it for. That doesn't mean it's going to sell for that. And I'm not in the business to wasting anybody's time, right? So that's why you need to know your numbers going into the listing presentation. So now with RPR, I enter the property address and RPR is going to spit out a number. What number did it give us? $351,040. And Kaylee came up with $350,229. What do you think are the chances that we can sell it at that price? And that's the high range, guys. So this property was sold on April 23rd of 21 for $331,000. But that doesn't mean much, right? Because you want to look at, so when you go to the bottom, well, in this case, it's the bottom of my listing. See? It shows me the sold date, which date it's sold on, But most importantly, because I want to know, like, how long ago was that, right? Like, how much did the real estate markets change since then? But most importantly, the other thing you want to look at that in the bottom, oh, right there, it's going to, can you guys see it right there? Can you see that number? What does it say? It says concession amount. So did it truly sell at 331? If concessions amounts are 3,500, it didn't really sell at 331, right? In my mind, I deduct that 30, can't talk. In my mind, I deduct the 3,500 from the final list or sold price, because that's truly what it sold for. There were some repairs that the sellers had to make. So it was 331,000 sold price minus 3,500 concessions. But the new price now came in at 350 that we calculated, and the system calculated 350, 140. So now I know I'm right on the money. I'm ready to list this property. I'm going to take advantage of it and list it right at 350. So here's another trick, guys, that we do. So 351, could I make $1,000 more for my sellers if I listed it at 351? Absolutely. What is $1,000 on a $350,000 house? Nothing. But most people search, or in a $50,000 search thing criteria, or $100,000 criteria. So some buyers search from 300 to 400 in the 350 price range, right? And some might search from 300 to 350 or 350 to 400. If that's the case, and I listed it at 351, I lose all the buyers that are on the market up to 350. If they can afford 350, can they afford 351? But if I set my listing price at 351, I lose all the buyers who set their criteria at 350. So I always round down or up to the closest $50,000 mark. Now, if it's 329, okay, you can't do 400 or 300, right? But if you are so close to that middle number, you always want to round. In this case, I will round down to 350 versus 351, just to keep it for the buyers that looking from 250 to 350, or 200 or 300 to 350, or the buyers who are looking from 300 to 400, or 350 to 400, right? Because now I'm hitting all of these different buyers, or 350 to 450, right? So now I'm hitting all of these different pools of buyers if they're searching in the $50,000 range or radius, or if they're searching in the $100,000 radius, I'm hitting them all. That $1,000, or when you're doing that, 349,999, you just shot yourself in the foot over a dollar. You lost half of the buyer pool over $1. Don't do that. So round up to the next number that will make the most amount of money. So this is the home in Pinkley. Did you guys, do you have questions? Oh, and it's 48 minutes over. So what I did though, but we don't have the time for it. What I did though, is I picked another home who would exactly like this one, but it's in Brighton School District. It's 8 minutes from one another, guys, 8 minutes. This is why in real estate, what are the 3 things that are the most important? Who can tell me? Kristen.
Price, condition,
I can, but
location.
It is usually.
Location.
Exactly. The 3 things. Usually when you're doing the math, yes, price, condition, location, right? But when you're doing the real math, it's location, location, location. You're paying for the zip code. You're paying for the 90210, right? So in this case, it's Brighton, literally 8 minutes away, same exact house, 3-bedroom, 2-bed, 1923 square feet instead of 1811, a little bit larger, right? Yada, yada. Same house, pretty much. Who wants to take a wild guess what it's worth in Brighton versus the Pinckney that we just did? They're 8 minutes from one another. $463,580. 463 instead of 351. $110,000 more expensive, and it's 8 minutes that way. So what I want you to do to learn your market is to pick a standard home that's standard for your area, right? and pick it and do the math, just what we did here. Do the math based on school district. And they could be literally, as you see it, 8 minutes from one another and $100,000 more expensive because you pay for location, location, location. You're paying for the zip code. I live in Brighton, not in Pinckney, in Brighton. And I'm sure you have that zip code in your neck of the woods that people are willing to pay more for it because it just sounds better.
Hey, Gogo.
Yes.
On the, go back to RPR, pull that back up. And I was going to point out something that I look at when I'm using it. So if you'll notice down, go down just a little bit, it has the right below there, the RVM confidence.
Yeah.
And so that basically is their automated confidence level in their pricing. So sometimes you'll see 1 or 2 stars, and that way you sometimes you'll see pricing that's not quite accurate.
Yeah.
And
Like
so-
the estimates.
Exactly.
Exactly. I never go for this estimate. I mean, if you're bored out of our minds and we just want to see what Zillow thinks of that property, right, we'll go on there. If the sellers say, you know, we think it's worth this much because we looked it up on Zillow, well, I'll print this estimate, but then I'll bring my numbers.
Yeah, and I put in the chat that I use estimates just to get an idea of what the public is seeing, just to get an idea of what, and again, somebody else put in here, you know, and see what the seller is seeing as well, just like you're saying. It's all useful to kind of talk with the seller or at least know what the public's going to be thinking.
Yeah. And this is why I like to pull my numbers manually, right? Is because the sellers think that they have an idea because they Googled it, right? They paid Zillow Doctor. They went on there and they think their home is worth $625,000, right? And now I show up and I need to justify why it's not. And this way I can fight the Zillow's estimate because I know exactly what I'm talking about because I have numbers. So I see 94 comments. Hopefully you guys are talking to one another, or is there some questions that I need to answer?
I know we've been pretty much talking the whole time back and forth. Is there, I don't think there's anything that was unanswered. If there is, go ahead and unmute yourself, guys, and
Yeah,
ask
so
away.
we have a little more time here. We have 8 minutes. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy, or comments, or if there's something we forgot and you do that you want to share with others, please open up your mic.
Gogo, I have a question.
Yes.
So in our MLS, we are not required to put in the school district. And so only about 40% of the agents will actually list the school systems. What do you recommend as far as how that goes? How could we find out more information as far as like what you're talking about with the zip codes compared to the school districts?
In that case, I would probably do the mailing address.
Okay.
So I would do the city of Brighton, right? Or Howell, or whatever that city name is. That's probably what I would do in that case.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Because I truly, like, as you saw, these 2 properties, they're 8 minutes from another. Pinckney, Michigan is not the same as Brighton, Michigan. It's just not, right? So mailing address in that case, if it's not, if you can't do school district.
Hey, Gogo, I'm not sure. We can't do school districts where we're at here in Florida, at least in our MLS that I know of. But in our KV core, like through our website, our search, you can pull up the school, the specific school that you're looking for, and it will pull up those homes.
Okay.
So that's
another way of doing it. Yeah. And then you could maybe take that, right? Write down those addresses, then go back to your MLS and run your manual comp. So
right.
when you do, what I used to do when I have these 11 comps, right? I print all, or 13 we had in this case. I print all 13 MLS tickets. So I have 13 of these, right? And now when you have the MLS tickets printed up on the top, you have the MLS number. When you go back to your screen, let me show you this really quick. When you go back to your MLS, and you're up in the bar, you see this like bar on top. Now I can take all of my MLS numbers. I only have 2 printed now, but I can take 2 of my MLS numbers. So I go 2200014110 space, not comma, space. Then you go 2210019 258. And you can continue doing all of your MLSs. Don't put comma, at least in our MLS. If you put comma, you will not find it. You just do a space. So now you could enter all 13 of these, and it's going to pull up all of them. Now I'll just go here. I go to thumbnails, and I have all of mine in a row, so I know exactly what I'm comparing. So these two are the one in Pinckney and the one in Brighton. Okay. So you can also do it that way. Yes.
Sorry, there's another good question in the chat. Oh, and I just lost it. Hold on. How important are the school districts? Why is being in one as opposed to another? How does it impact the price? And is that mostly for buyers with kids? Because they would be the ones who are aware of that?
Yeah. Yes. So I would say in our area, especially these homes that I pulled up, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? That's a family home. Most of our buyers in this area would more than likely have children, right? So for them, it's important, the school district. To me, I don't care if they're Pinckney or Brighton, right? What do I care? But they do. So they will tell you. So usually when I have the conversation with them, I ask them, is school district important to you? They say, oh no, our kids are grown. It's okay. Doesn't matter if it's Brighton mailing or Brighton schools or Pinckney schools or whatever. We just want to be in this specific area. Cool. Then I wouldn't be doing my search on school district, right? Then I would just leave 5-mile radius from a specific address, or I would just search based on the mailing address, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, Brighton, Michigan, everything that's on the market. But if it's important to them, they will tell you. Now it's kind of normal here in Michigan, right? That's just how we do it. That's one of the first questions we ask. But if it's not standard in your area, then don't do it that way. Do it based on the mailing city or the name of the city and what they're exactly looking for.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
So it's with my buyers, sometimes that's really important to them, even if they don't have kids, because those areas typically are hot areas for resale. So you might not have kids, but if you want to sell your house in 5 years from now, which most people are selling 5 to 7 years, if you want to sell your house, you might get a little bit quicker of a sale whenever you sell in that school district, if that makes sense.
Yeah, good point, Melinda. Yeah. So they might look at it as future resale value too. Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. Did we answer everybody's questions? I see a lot of familiar faces from our Team Gogo organization, but I also see a lot who are not our business partners. If you would like to become our business partners and partake, so every last Wednesday of the month, we open it up to the public. These are our trainings. We call it open to the public because to this training, everybody is welcome. But all of our other trainings are private in the Team Gogo organization. So if you would like to figure out how we work and who we are, and if you would like to maybe think about the idea of joining us here at EXP, Mariana, can you maybe put the link into the comments? You guys are more than welcome. Every Wednesday night, I do a presentation. So tonight at 8 o'clock, I do a presentation. We call it Wine Not EXP. So see that? Sometimes it's not wine. Sometimes it's a delicious drink. But if you want to know more about us, maybe you want to join us tonight at 8 or any other Wednesday night at 8 p.m. to see who we are, how we work. And maybe you decide to bring your business over to EXP as well. If not, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for showing up, and I will see you guys later. Bye, everyone. Yeah, the link, guys, it's also in my profile. So you can go to Instagram, go to my stories, or just message me on Instagram if you didn't catch it here in the comments. You send me a message, or any Team Gogo agent, if you send them a message, they can absolutely send you the link. But it looks like Mariana posted it. It's called Why Not? It's in the comments. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Go get them. List your properties right and sell every time.
Thank you.
Or less. Bye, guys.
Bye.